so happy to be here today with the lovely Harriet Reardon Bailey.
Right.
And she is the owner and builder of her family museum, which is called the Endicott Reardon Family Museum.
Right.
And we're here in, what is this town called?
This is Ocean View.
We're in Ocean View, New Jersey. Woo!
Yeah,
On
right.
a beautiful cold day. And Harriet is going to take us through her wonderful museum of treasures from her family. This is not stuff that she picked up on the road or, you know, in an antique shop. These are items that have come from your family that they used in everyday life. And I'm so excited to see it. So,
Well, I'm anxious to show you.
yay!
Come
So
on
come on in. Yay! All right, Harriet, look at this place. Oh my goodness.
This is
Wow.
my family.
Wow.
These are pictures of my family. This is my mother's family.
Oh, I like how you have it divided. The
Yeah.
Endicotts and the Reardons.
Right.
It's not like the well, you know, those two warring families in the
Right,
South.
yeah.
Right? No, these.
Yeah, well,
this
they,
was a love
they
story.
join up there on that shelf. But for this one, it's separate.
I like it.
I've traced my mother's family back to the Revolutionary War.
Oh wow.
So they've been here from England for a long time. And one of my great-grandmother, for whom I'm named, Harriet Ann, married a lake. Now the lake's found at Ocean City.
Oh, okay.
And he was a sea captain, but he was lost at sea. She had 6 children.
Wow.
So then she remarried, and the second marriage, my grandmother was one of her children. So that's my grandmother, Bessie Endicott. She married Henry Endicott, who worked on the railroad. And that's why they came down here to Seattle. And they lived in Seattle all their life. And when my mother and father got married, which is the second shelf, let me see. In this section, Daddy worked in the American store. And he and Mother were married in 1928. And I have lots of things, anniversary, or, you know, wedding gifts they got.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And then I came along,
Look at you.
and I was an only child.
What a cute baby.
The apple of their eye, as they say.
Oh, that's wonderful. I bet they were thrilled.
Yeah, this is a picture of my grandfather on the train, and that's me. I
Oh.
love trains.
Wow, that's a wonderful shot.
So
Is he the one that helped build the railroad?
right, to Avalon.
Okay.
Right, he worked on that railroad. He was a track foreman, they called him.
Okay.
And at night, they would have to call him to get out and take the hand car over, because they had no doctor
The
in
one that
Avalon.
you have to do
Yeah,
this? You have to have another person,
Yeah,
maybe?
mother remembers that. She said he was often going back over there.
It's good exercise, though.
Right, yeah. And I have all their wedding certificates
beautiful.
and Bibles and things.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And
I
then-
like how you have, I'm just gonna say, I'm sorry, the grand opening with the
Yes.
scissor,
Yeah,
because this has only been since 2016.
right. We
So,
opened.
what a wonderful, wonderful way to celebrate your family.
It really was. And
Just incredible.
I enjoyed
love
putting
the
it
toy
up.
chest up there.
Yeah, I have special exhibits throughout the year.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to have more. This year I kind of had to stop things, but
Oh, this is wonderful. I love all this wonderful old toys.
yeah, well that's
and-
kind of an overview of the rooms that you're going to see.
Gotcha.
The parlor, the kitchen, dining room, children's room, bedroom.
That train set. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, that was my first train set that my grandfather gave me.
Oh wow. I love it. Are they metal?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the little different
Line.
houses and
Yeah.
the station.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandfather gave me a train set when I was a little girl. And it didn't have any buildings, it just went around in a circle.
Uh-huh.
But I loved it.
Yeah. And then this is my father's side of the family. And they came from Ireland. This is my father's family. they've settled in Maine. And then my grandmother's family on my father's side, they came from Germany.
Okay.
And this is their family.
Wow.
And this is the wedding of the two families, German and Irish.
Beautiful.
And
Look at
they
that
had
dress.
4 children, boys, all boys. They lived in Maine. They bought a house there and farmed. This is their farm in Maine. So when they came down here, they farmed also.
Beautiful.
It was too cold in Maine. So they decided they wanted to come down here.
Somewhere more temperate.
Right, and Nanny Reardon wanted to raise chickens. So this is a record of her chickens from 1930. The eggs that she sold, the chickens that she sold.
Look at that. That's really neat.
This is her sister, by the way. She came down and lived here too after Nanny Reardon did.
Is that her last name or her first name?
These are first names.
Hulda?
Hulda.
Hulda. Was that a German? Is that the
Yeah,
German,
right.
German
This
name?
is the German,
Hulda.
right? Yeah.
Wilhelm.
Yeah, this
Nice.
is all of
Frida.
her sisters
Okay.
and brother.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful. Did they come to America from Germany as well?
Right, yeah.
Did they all
They
go
all
to
came
Maine?
together. They all went to Maine.
And did anybody else come down to Jersey besides your...
Well, Hulda lived here for a while, but
Okay.
no.
They stayed in Maine
Right.
pretty much?
They worked in the
They
mills.
braved the winters up there.
Yeah, in the mills in Maine.
Oh, okay. Wow, this is wonderful. Mildred and Cat Tommy.
Yeah. So we're cat people, as you can tell, even back then.
That's great. I love these pictures. These pictures are beautiful. See the cat in the arms?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and all this lovely stuff down here are the musical notes.
Yeah, and that's more, that's out in the community.
the sun,
After
moon,
you
and
go
stars.
through the
Oh, yeah.
house, you're going out in the community.
Oh, I like
work.
that. Like school and
Right,
work.
and this was my uncle's ruler when he was a carpenter.
I love it. I love how it's bound. I love the stitching holding the cover together.
I'm so good with this.
What is that called?
That's
the
a
vase?
Roseville. Roseville pottery.
It's so beautiful.
I bought those for my mother and dad at each wedding anniversary.
Oh, what a good daughter.
And then my Hummels, I have loads of Hummels.
Yeah, Hummels are cute. I have a Hummel of a little girl with her hands folded behind her back and 2 geese.
Oh,
That
yeah,
are sort of
Goose Girl.
The goose
yeah.
girl, like resting up on her, like, please give us something. And she has little pigtails
Yeah,
and a little scarf. Oh, I love it.
it's
so cute.
Yeah, I like them. And then this is a continuation of my family history.
Mhm.
This is a chest that they brought when they came from Germany. This is the Grunwalds.
So I bet they would bring their
This-
household stuff in there, right?
Right, yeah. This is the last cousin I have left, Margaret. She still lives in Maine, and she came down to see the museum.
Oh, how nice.
Her daughter brought her.
Oh, I bet she had a
Oh,
blast.
she did. This is the mill where they worked in Maine on the Androscoggin River. Have you heard of that?
No.
That's around Lewiston,
Lisbon Falls.
Maine.
What type of mill was it?
It was cotton. Cotton, yeah.
So they processed cotton.
Right, cotton and linen.
And here you have a map of Lewiston.
Right, and this is where they lived in a place called the Gas House Patch.
Okay.
Yeah, they had kept them separated, the
Right.
different nationalities.
Different, yeah, I understand.
And then this is us, my cousin and I, going up to get the chest, and we brought it
Oh,
back.
nice, I love that. And
And
visiting
then these are
some-
their stones.
Wow,
And this is the same lady when we went up. and
your
visited her.
cousin. Oh, that's sweet.
And then these two are from Ireland.
The
wicker,
baskets?
right, the wicker basket.
Those are so sturdy.
Well, I used to use that for dirty clothes.
That was your laundry hamper?
Right. But then it got a little worn, so I thought I better not do
I
that.
love how it's woven,
Yeah,
and it's just so sturdy.
it really is, yeah.
I mean, it just could last forever, you know?
And there are more things they brought from Germany and more diaries they kept.
That's so neat to pour through those.
It really is.
Just to see what they were doing, where they were going. Can I ask what that black beaded, is that a handbag?
That's a handbag. It hangs over your wrist.
Oh, and it has a tassel on the
Right,
bottom,
yeah.
right?
That's a
Oh,
handbag.
it's so beautiful.
And then that's a hat in the back.
Inside of, oh, the hat box. I never seen a see-through hat box before.
Yeah, well, that's,
Is it plastic or glass?
it's plastic.
Okay.
Plastic. And then this is the farm that they bought when they came down here. And that's.
And this is local? This was
Right next door.
right next
Yeah.
door? Okay.
Yeah, they bought 52 acres.
And you said she kept chickens, mostly.
Nanny Reardon did. All around here were big, long chicken coops, like
Oh,
they have
wow.
in Millville or
Oh, wonderful.
Vineland. Yeah.
Okay. That must have been great. And you can see some of them in this picture here, right?
Oh, the chickens, yeah.
So this is your, you told me this was
That's
your
my
father.
father.
The one with the bow tie?
Right.
I love his little brother feeding
Yeah,
the chickens.
and that's his brother in the carriage.
And the mom and dad look so happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And then these are their old glasses and things and their old Bibles.
I can't believe you have all this stuff. The little domino set, the little
Isn't
dice,
that
a wooden
different?
dice with
Yeah,
with
I
the
have
card.
no idea. I guess a game maybe.
Right, it has the four, the spades and the diamonds and the hearts.
And this is a picture of the Seal Boardwalk back there.
Right. Oh, I like
Years
that.
ago, and it just so happens the lady with the boy, that's my grandmother.
The one in that
Right in the
dress,
front,
right, all
in
the way
front,
to the
and
left.
behind her is my mother pushing the baby in a
No, really?
carriage.
That's hilarious. That's Sea Isle?
That was Seal
Did
before
did-
60.
Do I know that they have a boardwalk? Yeah, I think I know that
Yeah.
they have a boardwalk.
They don't
But I-
now. Now it's a
Okay.
promenade.
Okay, got it. And there's a signature,
Yeah.
Henry Endicott. Oh, and the picture of those folks.
That's my grandmother and grandfather in later
Okay.
years in front of their house in Seal.
So the lady in the hat, your grandmother, is that the same lady that's in the
Right.
picture on the
Mhm.
boardwalk?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Uh-huh.
but later,
Right.
a couple
Yeah.
decades later.
Yeah. And this is Harriet Ann, the one I'm named for this one in this.
That
And this
portrait
is
right
Harriet
there.
Ann's Bible, I think.
Yeah, it says Bible of Harriet Ann
Right.
Adams, 1855.
Yeah, when her second husband died, she moved in with my grandmother. So
okay.
that's why I have a lot of her things.
Gotcha. And the Lakes, the Lake family.
So
So,
you're going in the
oh my
house.
goodness, here we are in
This
the
is the
house.
parlor.
This is the parlor.
And the parlor was like a living room where people gathered. They were great card players, the boys, and different games and things.
Will you take us in and show us some stuff?
Sure, sure. This is a little write-up I have in case people come and want to go on their own. And I have things numbered. And some of the things I have numbered, like this rug, rag rug, was made by my mother.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And
I love
using
old
old
rag rugs.
material, you know. And then these are old books. This is an old Nancy Drew, and that was my grandmother's. That's one of the first ones.
The Secret of the Old Clock. Yeah, you could tell because her what she's wearing
Right,
is
yeah.
very 1920s,
Yeah.
1930s.
And then these quilts. These were made by my father's mother who lived over there. And this is feed sacks. When she got feed,
For
it
the
would
chickens?
come, in material like this.
No, these are feed sacks
These are
too. I was
feed
thinking
sacks.
maybe just
No,
the
these were.
get out. Look at that.
Isn't
pattern.
it amazing?
That is incredible.
And Nanny Reardon made dresses out of them.
Oh,
I think of
that's
her
great.
in, like this one. I can
Right.
see her in a
Wearing
dress
that
like
dress.
that.
Oh, I love that one too. I don't know what that is, but I love that.
I went to high school with a girl who does quilting. She made that her life. And when we go around there, I have something she sent me with feed sacks in it, a pattern. It's really interesting.
That's so unusual. I mean, that feed would come into a sack like that.
Yeah, well, you can see this is a part of this. see?
Right, exactly. This one is really neat too. That's very, it's very Art Deco.
Modern. It is,
It's
yep.
very Art Deco, that design.
And then this, I think, is really neat. Behind you, the sewing machine. This was Harriet Ann's sewing machine.
Oh, wow.
And that was her sewing basket. My mother got it for her last Christmas. She
Oh,
was
love it.
alive. And this is the bill for it. She paid $60 for it.
For that
Back
machine?
in 1888.
Wow, that's a pretty big expense.
It was, but see, they all made everything.
They used it.
So they had to
yeah.
have one.
They had to have a sewing machine. They made all the clothes and
Yeah.
all the everything you need
Everything
for
they
your
had,
house.
and then they repaired it and kept everything.
That's incredible.
This is an old car that
It's a
one of my
Cadillac.
mother's brothers had. It's a pedal car.
It's a Cadillac. Oh, I love it. It's metal, yeah?
Yep. And you pedal it, see?
Oh, right. Oh, that's wonderful. He must have had a blast in here.
Yeah.
And even the seat cushion too.
Yep.
It's still got its cushion going.
And that's what they call a crazy quilt. When they had material
The
left,
patches are just all over the place.
patches were just all over.
I have a crazy quilt that I use in my bed, and I've been repairing it for
Oh.
like 10 years now. Like
Yeah.
a little patch. The fabric gets worn.
Right.
So you just kind of have to go back in and repatch it. But my favorite thing about crazy quilts are the stitching
Aren't they different?
around
Yeah.
the patches. Because the stitching was just, it was almost like more about the stitching on a crazy quilt
Right.
than it was about
Yeah.
the patches of fabric.
Well, Harriet Ann
Just
made
look at
that,
this.
my
That's
great
incredible.
grandmother, so that's how old that is.
That's amazing. Look at the old Monopoly set.
Yeah, a lot of old games they
goodness.
had.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it.
And there's an old phonograph
Is that
behind
Yahtzee?
you.
It's Yahtzee.
Yahtzee, yeah, they
love
were
Yahtzee.
great. Oh, they loved Yahtzee,
I
the
love it.
men.
I love shouting out Yahtzee too. Yahtzee.
And that phonograph was in their house. That was the forerunner, I guess, of television today.
Beautiful. When I was growing up, my mom and my stepfather really loved antiques also,
Uh-huh.
and he worked in radio.
Oh.
So we had one of these. It was standing. It was a cabinet,
Right, yeah.
and you could open the drawers to for the speakers.
Uh-huh.
And then there were slots where they kept the really thick
Oh,
records.
right, oh, neat.
But I always used to play them, the
Uh-huh.
78s. And we had a player piano too with a whole bunch of rolls.
Oh, wow.
And we also had old radios, like big old radios.
Oh, right, in the cabinet kind.
And I think Glenn has heard this story before, but I thought that it was the year that came out of the radio. I didn't,
Oh.
I was like, okay, it's from the 40s, right? So the 40s are going
Oh.
to come out of the radio. I was a kid, you know, I don't
Right,
know.
yeah,
Oh, it's
yeah.
a 30s radio. The 30s is now coming out of the radio.
Right, oh, that's funny.
But they were really beautiful, and I loved them a lot. So I grew up in a house full of antiques.
Uh-huh.
And I think that helped me to
Appreciate.
foster my own appreciation and
Right.
collection.
Right. Well, people come in here and they just love it.
Oh, man.
Because, oh, my grandmother had that, or,
That's
oh,
right.
I remember that, you know.
You even have
Oh, yeah, that was mine.
the Vista View.
Right, yeah.
I have a brown one
Do you?
with a bunch of old cards, but are these cards in here?
There
Is that a
are
box of cards?
I think, in it. And then this
Viewmaster.
is a stereopticon with a lot of cards.
Oh, that one.
That was Nanny Reardon's.
That was the 3D.
And up there,
action.
see that long tube? Pick
Yes.
that up, turn it. It has
Oh,
glass in it.
It's
You
a
look in it.
kaleidoscope. It's a kaleidoscope. Oh my goodness. Yes, I remember looking at one of these for hours when I was a kid.
I used to
That's
love it.
so cool.
Yeah, I used to love
Millions of designs. The Stephen Manufacturing Company of St. Louis, Missouri.
So this is a parlor where they came every evening after dinner and played games
Relaxed.
and relaxed, and
Talk to
the
each
women
other.
sewed.
No TV, which
No
is nice.
TV, they just relaxed. You mentioned the piano. I have to tell you the story of this piano.
Oh, yes, please. Do you play?
I play, yeah.
Oh.
They had a piano in the house next door. The house was hit by lightning, and it really, kind of ruined the house, but they lived there for a while until they built the bungalow. I had a phone call from a man who had this piano in his garage. He was trying to get rid of it. It was his granddaughter's. He called museums, nobody wanted it, and they gave him my name because, everybody around here knows me with my stuff. So my husband and I rented a truck and went up to get it. And that was in 1996. It was all in pieces. So I had to put back together. And the man that restored it said it's a wonderful piano because you can see it has cherry wood on it. Most of them are just the plain kind.
Right. No, this is gorgeous. It's from Boston, too,
Yeah.
right? And Norris
Yes, and
Piano
one of the
Company.
last square grand pianos.
I've never seen a square grand
Well, there
before.
aren't many left. There really are not.
Do you know what year this piano was built?
1866.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
And every month I have teas in the summer. And I had one tea where the girl, one of my friends, played the piano. So I had it tuned. It's pretty good.
It's still keeping
Pretty
its
good.
tune in.
The upper notes are not great, but it's still pretty good. And then this is a kitchen.
The clothes and the mannequins that I'm seeing,
Right.
were they all from your family members as well?
That one is one that my mother made me for the bicentennial.
Oh, it's
because I
beautiful.
sing in choirs.
The one by the piano.
Yeah,
right?
and that was one that she made for
Oh,
me.
wow.
That was my wedding dress behind
Oh,
you.
wow, it's beautiful. Look at you as a mannequin.
I don't look very happy though,
No,
but I was.
you look very fashionable, but not very happy. I'm sure you were elated.
I was. I think my grandfather probably made that on a lathe or something. That's a potato masher.
Get those potatoes mashed.
And then these, I know he made these and scoop up stuff.
Gosh, I love it. I love porcelain top tables.
I do
love
too.
these
This
tables.
was, this was my
There's a
grandmother's.
drawer somewhere here, right? There's
Yeah,
a
I
little
think it's
drawer.
on the other side.
Love it. Love the drawers. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
I have one. I have a really beautiful one that has leaves,
Oh,
and they have just like little flower designs on the corner.
Oh, yeah.
And my great aunt Veronica left me a table that's only about this big, and it's green porcelain,
Oh,
and it has a white base with a little drawer in it. But it's green, and I've never seen
didn't know.
green.
I've never
porcelain.
seen
I'll
green.
take a picture of it.
Yeah,
and
I've
send
never
it to you
seen
because I
green.
think you would love it. So
Well,
tell us about some
Well,
of this
someone
wonderful
gave me
stuff.
the stove. Our stove, when I lived in Seattle, we had a flood and our stove just went.
Oh,
So
bummer.
someone gave me this stove.
It's very cool.
It is pretty. It's a chamber stove,
It's
and I
beautiful.
don't know that much about it. But these I do know about. I use these constantly. I love them.
Cast iron.
I love them. Nothing fries like cast
Like cast
iron.
iron, I'm telling you. And I bet you lift up the porcelain top and there's your burners,
It
right?
is, yeah, it is, yeah. And these, they would heat and iron with.
So cool. Pre-electricity.
Yeah.
And is that loaf of bread still good, you think?
I don't think so. I think that's my mother made all these aprons.
Oh,
They always
wow.
wore aprons.
That's beautiful. I love how it comes to a point.
I think that's a pretty one.
That's
It's really
beautiful.
different. Yeah, they're great with aprons. There they are. She always wore those. These were pot holders that they made.
Oh, so nice. I love kitchen stuff.
This was,
Was that your bathtub?
well, no, it was to wash clothes in, Uncle Bill
Oh,
said.
okay.
Yeah, that was the Reardon family, and
you
then
heat
these
up the
are
water.
frames that you use, I
And
think
that's why you
was,
have this, because this is what they would
right, help,
agitate the clothes
right,
on.
yeah, if they have dirt on them. And then they were Grandma's, Nanny Reardon, that was Nanny
Aw.
Reardon's bonnet when she went out in the
Look at
field.
that.
There's an old,
I can't believe
Ice
you have
cream
this,
maker.
that nobody threw this stuff away, which was such a
well, see, we
miracle.
never moved. I think that's
Oh,
one of the
okay.
secrets.
That is probably
You know,
true.
they moved down here in 1920 and they died in that house. And the same thing in Seattle. You know, my parents moved here in 28, they were married. But their mother and father moved here in 15, so, and they never moved. I use the dining room.
Okay. Oh, this is lovely. I love all your dish sets too. Oh my
They
goodness.
were mother and dad's dishes over the years.
Right.
A
So
lot of those
beautiful.
were from the American store, because Daddy worked in the American store.
What
and
is-
they
what was
sold
the American
dishes.
store all about?
Well, Acme now.
Oh, is that,
Yeah,
is that,
right, yeah.
is that a abbreviation of American, Acme? Or is that they just shortened it, or?
I'm not sure.
Who knows, right? I like this one with the cattails.
Yeah, that was Grandma's.
That is
That was
beautiful.
And I like the pink
And I
one.
love the pink
I thought
one,
that
too.
was
With the
pretty.
glasses that you put there, the
Yeah.
rose-colored glasses.
And then-
Rose-colored glasses.
Yeah, I know, and Mom made all the tablecloths that
Oh.
are in there.
Beautiful. Look at that embroidery. My mom taught me how to embroider when I was a kid, so I do that.
Yeah, I
do that
embroider,
too.
yeah.
I love the cattails though.
Isn't that
Those
different?
are so unusual.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
And
Do you
then
have
these-
any idea when they might be from?
Well, they were my grandmother's, so I'd
So-
say in the 30s, maybe 40s.
Just gorgeous. I like how this one looks like needlepoint, the pattern on this china.
Yeah, aren't they pretty?
Very pretty.
I know they're American store, these. And these two are very similar,
The patterns,
the
right?
pattern, you
Yeah.
know.
That's very nice.
And then these were Mother's last dishes. This is how we set the table, like at Christmas or
Right.
Thanksgiving.
It's a great table setting.
These are all like wedding presents. This depression glass.
Oh,
Mother
wow.
loved depression glass.
Oh my goodness.
And these are a lot of wedding presents she got. Again, I've had programs on depression glass.
Do you think because it was such a big glass area in Millville
And they
Vineland,
gave it away
do you
all
think
the time.
they made this stuff in Millville or Vineland? Do you have any idea? Who knows, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I don't think so. It was cheap glass, that's what they always called it. No, it really was, you know.
Then they found a better name for it, depression glass.
Right, yeah, and they gave it away.
It
We
doesn't look
always
sad
used,
at all.
those for pudding. We always put
Yes.
pudding in those, I
That's a
still
great-
do.
That's a great pudding dish.
I love this kind with the pretty little holes
Oh,
around
I
it.
love how, and this, you can hold it like that.
Yeah,
It's really beautiful.
and then here's some more. This is green depression glass. My mother
Hello.
liked the pink, so we have mostly pink, but this is depression glass. This is, let's see if I can find it now. The girl who did the program for me. This is to honor a ballerina, and you can just see her in this section. She was a ballerina.
Isadora
Isadora
Duncan, yeah.
She was killed. She
I
got
know.
her scarf caught
in the car. Yeah. She was a wonderful modern dancer.
Right, right.
That just was like all about free form movement and take off your corsets.
Right,
And
yeah.
little nymphs dancing,
Right,
frolicking
yeah.
in the forest.
This my mother made for her honeymoon.
Wow.
They went to Maine.
Love that dress.
Isn't it pretty?
It's beautiful. And I
Yeah.
love that necklace too. I love look at this work up here.
Yeah, isn't that, I forget what you call that. A smocking.
Smocking? Is that? Oh, the detail is beautiful. It's almost like
And
here's
she
your
was
mom.
married in 28, so that dress has been,
1928.
right,
And it's a
it's
very
almost
beautiful color.
100 years old.
That's amazing.
And it's in perfect
It
condition.
really is a beautiful condition.
I'm going to read the story of the night before Christmas.
Yay!
And I'm sure you're all familiar with that, but it's a wonderful story. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew at a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As the leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the pouncing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening the pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, and his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled up the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
So here is another wonderful book. Harriet read a book, and now I'm going to read a book. It's called Wipe Your Feet, Santa Claus by Conrad Richter, pictures by Joseph Wilkin. So we're just going to dig right into this book. How do you feel about that? It's really beautiful. See these illustrations? Looks like a nice countryside in the winter. And this is a book about a bad boy. Oh, no. So he's been naughty, not nice. Wipe your feet, Santa Claus. Oh, and it's been translated by Rosemary Lanning, so I'm not sure from which language, but we'll find out. The kitchen door flew open and Stephen came rushing indoors. Hey, listen, he cried excitedly. Guess what I've been doing? I know what you haven't done, snapped his mother, and that's take your boots off. Look at the mess you're making on my nice clean floor. How often do I have to tell you not to come into my house with dirty boots on? See the cat? There's a bird outside. Look, his mom with the pail and bucket and sweeper. Trying to keep the place clean in the winter. It must have been a real challenge. Look at that beautiful house. I'm sorry, mumbled Stephen. Glumly, he turned around and crept outside again. Now he didn't feel like telling his mother how much fun he had had in the forest, feeding all the animals. Poor mom on the ground, scrubbing the floors. I think these were cat people too. There's a little cat iron up here on the ledge. All the wonderful stuff people need to live their daily lives. Slowly, he walked across the yard toward the barn. He decided to help his uncle load the sled with hay for tomorrow. Hay. There's a doggie outside, and a horse, and the sled, and the beautiful woods for the path. I like to go down that path. Uncle John had almost finished his work in the barn. Hello, Stephen. Why are you looking so miserable? He asked. Aren't you excited? Santa Claus is coming tonight. Stephen went pale. He was so surprised that he couldn't answer. He had forgotten all about Santa Claus. Today of all days, he had to get in trouble over his boots. But he stamped his foot defiantly and yelled, Santa Claus is silly. I don't like nuts or tangerines, and he can keep his stupid presents. Poor kid. He wasn't in the best festive holiday mood, would you say? Stephen ran back into the house, sat down on the steps, and stared into space. Would Santa Claus know that he always came into the house without wiping his feet? And could Santa Claus have heard what Stephen just said about him in the barn? Perhaps he wouldn't bring him any presents now. He hadn't been sitting there long when he heard his mother calling, Come indoors, Stephen! Santa Claus will be here soon. It's a lot of pressure on that poor kid. Stephen's mother was just lighting a candle when they heard a heavy knock on the door. In came Santa Claus, a big man with an enormous red coat and a long white beard. As he walked slowly into the room, Stephen crept away into the far corner and hid under the table. There's a doggie. See Santa Claus? He has a big bag of presents. And there's the moon. Now he could see nothing but Santa Claus's big black boots through the table legs. You see Stephen hiding under here? Look at the kitty cat. And I'm sorry, but Santa seems to have some snow on his boots. But what was that he saw? Small lumps of snow were falling off of Santa Claus's boots onto the floor where they melted. When Stephen saw this, he jumped up and cried, Look, Santa Claus has dirty boots too! Santa Claus and Stephen's mother stared in silence at the dirty boots. Then Santa Claus began to laugh out loud. Ho, 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 ho. I wonder if he laughed, ho, ho, ho. Ho, 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 ho. Stephen's mother had a laugh too. So she laughed. That's good. You just have to laugh sometimes, you know. Finally, Santa Claus sat down, patted Stephen on the back and said, Yes, my dear Stephen, even Santa Claus makes mistakes sometimes. Now we'd better both promise your mother that we won't run around with dirty shoes again. Look at that little kitty cat. What a cool illustration. Isn't that beautiful? They've got painted birds on the walls and a nice cuckoo clock. There's a candle on the table. And then outside, Finally, Santa Claus sat down, patted Steve. Oh, did I just read this whole thing? I don't know why I'm reading this whole thing again. I'm so sorry. I get so distracted by the visuals. So he said, "We promise your mother that we won't run around with dirty shoes again." Pleased at the way things had turned out, Stephen nodded and made his promise. He began to think Santa Claus wasn't so bad after all. "He's quite nice, really," he said to himself. So look at Stephen's bedroom. I promise I won't read this again. Look at Stephen's bedroom. He's got a bird, a teddy bear, got some tangerines, the presents, all the things that he said he hated before. "I hate those nuts and those tangerines." And he's watching Santa walk off into the woods. I wonder if Santa wiped his feet off to go outside. Oh. That night, when Stephen went to bed, he found a plate of tangerines, some candy, some nuts, and 2 small presents on his bedside table. And he silently renewed his promise not to walk around in the house with dirty shoes ever again. When he fell asleep, he had lovely dreams about all the animals in the forest. Look, there's a bear snoozing. There's a fox. Here's a coyote or wolf. There's some beautiful deer, some nice birds and an owl, and a little bunny rabbit and a bigger rabbit, some other rabbit, and the kitty cat asleep next to his bed. What a beautiful story. Yay, I'm going to give that story a big hand. Woo! Now wait, I am curious to know what language it was translated. Okay, so the gentleman who wrote this book was born in Hanover, West Germany, and studied at the University of Zurich. This is his second children's book. And the illustrator of these wonderful pictures, excuse the library thing, that's okay, because we borrowed it from our own library. Look at these pictures. The illustrator was born in Poland and studied at the Academy of Art in Krakow. One of Poland's leading illustrators, his work has won many prizes and has been exhibited around the world. Yay! Thank you for tuning in. Please tune in for some more fun as we go along. And Merry Christmas. Hey everybody, what's happening? Welcome to crafting. And what we're going to do today is we're going to make our very own Christmas tree. Woo! What? Yes, that's right. So for this tree, we're going to start with a base because the tree itself is on a trunk, right? That goes into the ground and has roots. But once they chop the tree down for a Christmas tree, it sort of stops at the bottom, and that's when you might put it into a big dish of water to keep the Christmas tree fresh throughout the holiday season. So I'm going to start with the base here, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom so it sticks to the paper. Oh yeah. So here we go. This is the beginning of our Christmas tree. And what you're going to need to make this Christmas tree is construction paper and glue and whatever else you have on hand. For instance, I have some really nice multicolored sequins. I'm going to use these as Christmas balls and decoration for our tree. And that's just one little dot of glue on these, and then you could just stick them right on your tree. But for the tree itself, I am going to use just multicolored pieces of construction paper. And that's how we're going to build our tree. So I have here strips of construction paper that have been cut and all different colors. So I'm just going to take out a couple of colors just so we have them here. We could just whip them into shape. And try not to choose a color that is the same color as your background, because otherwise that part of the tree will disappear. Okay, we've got purple. We'll whip out some pink, maybe a little black. We've got green and orange and red, and here's some blue. and yellow. I think we've got all the colors that we need to get this going. Now what it is you're going to be building the tree going up the piece of paper. Here, let me just move the decorations and our little happy friends, hello, over to the side for a minute. And so each row of paper is going to have to be a little bit shorter than the next one. Like whatever color I choose to put next, I'm going to cut that a little bit shorter than the one that we start with. So just to start, I'm going to kind of do a little measure here. And since this is a little bit too big for the page, I'm just going to trim that down a little bit. So that's our first piece. Now, they don't have to be exactly one on top of the other. And some of them are going to be thinner, and not all of them are going to be perfectly rectangular. So you kind of want to put them at an angle. And from this point on, we'll be using the glue stick because it's going to take too long to glue, but I just wanted to glue the base. All right, so the glue stick, I'm a little bit off camera right now because I don't want to put glue stick on the paper that we're working on, but this is what I'm doing off camera. I'm just applying glue stick to each of the strips on another piece of paper so I don't get it on the table and I don't get it on the work that we're doing. So there's the first bottom, and just put it a little bit in an angle. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered or straight as your base. And with the next strip, I'm going to cut it a little bit thinner. And then I'm going to measure it a little bit and make sure that it's just a little bit shorter than the first row. Right? Like that, something like that. So it's a tiny little bit shorter, and you'll see as we go up that it'll start to take on the shape of a tree. Make sure you get enough glue stick on here to get the edges so that when you lay it down, it's going to really adhere to the paper. And again, since this is your tree, you just go crazy. You put whatever color you want to next, and however wide your strip is, you just do that for yourself. Just remember that each strip needs to be just a tiny little bit less than the one before. So that one comes, we're going to maybe make that one about like that size. Okay. And save your strips because you can use them as we go up. All right, so I'm going to glue this whole blue one over here. Okie dokie. And then stick this one on just a little bit. And it's okay if that green shows through. That is the whole point, is to make it look cool like that. So the next color that we're going to use is, I think we're going to use, what color would you like to use? Did I hear somebody say pink? Yes, that's right. We're going to use a pink one. All right, so this one has to be a little bit shorter. So we'll cut right about there. We'll make this one a little skinnier. And we'll get some glue going. However you want. Whatever looks good to you. Maybe we'll do a green one next. How do you feel about that? I like that idea. So I'm going to measure it. So it's a little bit shorter. And I'm going to make it a little bit skinnier. get our glue on. And bam! Just like that. What a cool tree. I think I'm going to come back in with another piece of yellow. Measure it so it's a little bit shorter. Give it a little cut. One piece could be skinnier than the next piece could be a little fatter than the last piece. That doesn't matter. You do whatever you want. You could put all the same color. You could put 2 colors. You can use as many colors as you have at home. It's your tree, so you make it shine. Look at our tree, it's growing. Ah, what are we gonna do when we get to the top? I just don't know. I think I'm gonna come in and use a piece of orange. I don't think we've used orange yet, have we? Nope. So here we go with orange. I like orange. It's one of my favorite colors. You know how you get orange? By mixing red and yellow. It's not one of the primary colors. It's its own creation. Orange. Okie dokie. Get some glue going there. We'll make this one so that you can see a little bit of the green behind. I like that. What do you think about that? I think it looks great. How about a piece of black? I'll just put that in there for a different shade. I like the way orange and black look together because you know what that reminds me of? Halloween, that's right. Another favorite holiday. I will cut this puppy like that. Get some glue. Oops. And we'll get that on there. Just like that. I like the way that looks. So then let's come in with another bit of this color because we haven't done red for a while. Okay, so we're going to measure it, cut it a little bit shorter than the last one, get some glue going. We are using a lot of glue from the glue stick today. Thank goodness for glue stick, right? It's so handy and it works so well. Whoever invented it was a genius, I tell you. And you know what color we have not used yet? I can't believe it. My other favorite color, Mr. Purple. So we're going to come in here and measure purple a little bit shorter. Give that a nice cut. All right, let's see what color. We've got yellow, red, blue, pink, green, yellow, orange, black, red. I think we'll go for pink. How about that? Go for pink, go for pink. So we have a piece of pink. We'll measure it. Give it a little cut. Is this too skinny? Is this pink too skinny? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for a bigger piece of pink. So let's try that again. Okie dokie. See, I just wanted it to be a little bit thicker. Okay. And then we're going to do some glue action here. Glue action, glue action. We love it. Glue action. Okie dokie. That's very nice. What color should we do next? How about a nice piece of yellow to brighten up your day? I think that's a great idea. Here, we'll use this piece of scrap that we used already. So we'll cut it a little bit shorter. Glue. Wonder what the last piece is going to look like. Is it going to look like a triangle, you think? For the top of the tree? We're getting pretty close. Let's do a piece of green next, shall we? Here, we got a nice scrap of green. We'll do some measuring. Try not to cut the tinsel or garland. All right, here's our green. I don't know, what should the top color be? What do you think? Should it be blue? We haven't done blue in a while. And should I make the top yet? Or, I don't know. I'm just, art is so much fun because you can really just go for it and do whatever you want. So here's a piece that we used before. We'll cut this little piece a little shorter. Come back here, you. Get some glue going on that there. Look how cool your tree is. All right, I think maybe the next piece should be the top of the tree. What do you think? Because I don't know how much smaller we can get these pieces. So what color do you think should be at the very top of the tree? What color haven't we used for a while? Should it be red or orange? How about orange? Let's do orange because we've only used orange one time and I think it would look really pretty. So let's see if I have a scrap. Yes, I do. Look at that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it so that it's a little bit shorter, but instead of cutting it into a rectangle, I'm going to cut it into a triangle. So it looks like the top of the tree. Okay. There we go. There's our triangle. And wait till you see it. It's going to look so cute up there. The top of the tree! The top of the tree! Oh, look how cute it is. Now, I know that was fun, but this part is even more fun. What do you want to do at the bottom? You can make we can make a little blanket if we want to put around the bottom of the tree. We can glue on some of these wonderful sparkly little, I'm at a loss of words for what they're called. Sparkly little sparkly things. Yes. I think that's what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is instead of the glue stick, because I know that it's not going to work, I'm just going to use one tiny, tiny, tiny little dot of glue. And you might want to pour a little glue on a paper plate or something, or in a cup, and then use a toothpick. But I'm just going to use my fingers. And then you could put your little sparkly sequins. Yes, they're called sequins. Thank you very much. Right on here. And you could put them wherever you want. You could just line them up. I think I'm going to do a couple at a time because they're so tiny. This might take a couple of years for me to finish this. If you have buttons, you could put buttons on them. You could put pieces of ribbon like that. Anything you have at home, you can make circles out of the pieces of paper to look like Christmas balls or ornaments. Whatever you want. I'm just getting creative because we have all these cool things here at the library from times past. So I think it's nice to use what you have. How cool is that? Is it starting to look like a Christmas tree? I think so. You know, you can even make little presents and put little presents around the bottom. You know how you could do that is just take a piece of scrap paper, cut it into a square or a rectangle, and you could put another little piece of scrap paper on it, or you could draw on it to look like a present. You know, you could put two lines going like that to make it look like it was wrapped up with ribbon. What do you think about that? Oh, we like it. Thank you. Thank you for telling us those things. And look what I dug out. A little star for the top of the tree. How cute is that? Look at your little tree. We are having some fun, I tell you. So just a couple more sequins. I will never forget that word now. And maybe I'll do one present to show you what that can look like. And thank you so much for watching today. I think holiday crafts are so much fun. Because you know what? You could do it for yourself, but you can also turn it into a present and give it to somebody that you love. And that's what Christmas is all about. Making other people happy. And that makes you happy too. And makes me happy. Always makes me happy to give people that I love and that I like things that they can appreciate. The spirit of Christmas. That's right. I know it's been a tough year, but together we can get through anything. And next year will be better. I hope and I promise. I hope to promise. All right, so that's enough of those little guys. Now I'm going to make you a little present. So I'm going to make a little blue present. That looks like a present, right? Excuse me. You know what you could do is you can use this cute little ribbon right here. It could be anything that you have, string, yarn, ribbon. And you could take your little present. You measure the ribbon and take some glue, because this will work better than glue stick. And you could put a little glue on your ribbon. And you could put that right on the present so that it looks like it's wrapped up. How cute is that? Can you see that? And you can get another piece. Or just, let's just use that one piece. And so to make a bow at the top, maybe you want to just take one of these little sequins. And you could put a little red bow. And there's your present. Put a little glue on the back. And there's your present. How cute is that? You can put as much stuff or as little stuff on this tree as you want to. So I think it's really cool. And maybe if you want to make like a little blanket, I just happen to have a piece of tissue paper here. And you could sort of cut out a little blanket shape, just a little circle, half circle. Sort of put that around your tree wherever you want. It's up to you, or that way. So there it is. That's your holiday tree. I hope you had fun making this. I hope you give it to somebody as a present. I think it's really pretty. And once again, thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like what you see every week. We would love to have you as one of our subscribers. Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you.